Hi, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to Tech Exchange. My name is Kelly Paisano. I am the product manager for watsonx Code Assistant for Z, and I'm here with our lead architect. I'll let him introduce himself. Go ahead, Nikolai.
Hello everyone, my name is Nicolas Dengeville, and yeah, I'm the architect for watsonx Code Assistant for Z. I'm French
I-
also, and you may notice it with my accent later on.
Uh, Joining us from Paris, France. So thanks, Nicola, for joining us so late. So we're super excited to be here today to talk to you about simplifying and accelerating mainframe application modernization with watsonx Code Assistant for Z. I'm going to be doing a brief product overview, and then Nicola will be taking us through a live demo of the different capabilities. So with that, I will start sharing my screen and we will get into it. All right. Can we see that okay, Nicola?
Yes, yes, yes.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. So just stepping back for a moment, today's Tech Exchange track is all about AI assistants and agents. So where do we fit into that picture? IBM watsonx Code Assistant for Z is part of our overall watsonx Code Assistant portfolio. And what makes this portfolio so unique and special is that it's purpose-built, enterprise-ready code assistants that are for targeted use cases. They are built based on principles of trust, security, and compliance that we know our clients need, and they are powered by the IBM Granite Foundation models that include state-of-the-art LLMs that are designed specifically for code. So, purpose-built. Let's dig into it. Why do we need watsonx Code Assistant for Z? Well, it's actually pretty simple. One principal challenge across our organizations today is how do we accelerate mainframe modernization? Mainframe modernization it can be really hard, but it's important. It's critical, really. It's mission critical. So there are over 230 billion lines of COBOL actively running by enterprises today. But COBOL itself is not the problem. What are the challenges? It's more the history behind the COBOL in the mainframe applications. First, agility. Mainframe applications have been built and expanded over time. They're often large monolithic applications, so they can be really difficult to modernize quickly. But companies need agility and they need to grow quickly to scale their businesses. Then there's skills. Clients need to reduce the talent gap to maintain and modernize their applications. Manual effort. There often isn't enough automation in the application development lifecycle, but you need that automation to improve productivity and increase time to market. And then finally, the how. Where do you even start? What are the best patterns to follow for application modernization? What are the best practices? Sometimes even just getting started can be really tough. And that's where IBM watsonx Code Assistant for Z comes in. It's purpose-built to put automation and AI to work to address these challenges. So here it is, the one-page overview of watsonx Code Assistant for Z. Let me take you through it. The first thing you'll notice is that watsonx Code Assistant for Z provides a solution that addresses the entire application lifecycle with automation and AI to accelerate productivity, address skills challenges, and following an incremental approach to modernization to quickly deliver value. These are the challenges that we just discussed. It's also designed to accelerate your modernization goals, which may vary across applications and may change over time. And it starts at the top of our wheel with application understanding. tooling to help architects and developers visualize dependencies, discover and analyze their applications. Application understanding is critical to identifying where and how to modernize. And with our tooling, you can reduce the time to understand application from weeks to hours, if not even less. Next, number two is refactoring. Managing and updating monolithic applications is challenging. It takes a lot of time, a lot of testing, and is typically very risky. So our refactoring capability brings in static and dynamic analysis into your IDE to help developers extract code into modular business services. So a smaller thing to modernize and work on instead of that monolithic application. This capability also automates the code slicing process, improving accuracy and reducing the developer time and skill required. And if you're happy to keep your code and your application, your refactored service in the same language, your next step may be number three, to optimize. With watsonx Code Assistant for Z, you can use our optimize capability to identify and resolve performance issues and get better performance overall of your code. Or you may choose to transform your new service into a new language. With watsonx Code Assistant for Z, we use generative AI and automation to transform COBOL to Java. The Java produced is well-architected, object-oriented Java, and it maintains the IBM Z runtimes and qualities of service that are required for enterprise applications. And then after transforming, you need to validate. The validation capability streamlines and accelerates testing of the new Java code. It automatically generates unit tests to ensure semantic equivalence of the translated Java to the original COBOL code. And then finally, in the center of the wheel, you'll see code explanation. This is an extremely powerful GenAI capability that enables developers throughout the application modernization lifecycle to quickly get natural language explanations and descriptions of their code. Not only does this accelerate productivity, but it also helps to upskill new talent and reduce reliance on SMEs and reduce reliance on documentation, which, in many cases can be outdated. And now, before we get into the demo to dive deeper into these capabilities, I want to take a second to talk about some really exciting enhancements that are coming this quarter. And it's all about AI agents. So imagine a world where all the data you need is available to you at your fingertips. But it's not an encyclopedia, it's not a huge report that you need to navigate. It's just the right amount of information that you need when you need it. It's like having access to subject matter experts right in your IDE. AI agents are accelerating the possibilities of AI and where we can go with our assistants. And we're launching our first agents this quarter that will help developers more quickly understand their applications with the introduction of a Kix agent and an application insights agent along with chat. So, what does it really mean to have agents? Here's a high-level overview of our agentic architecture. First, we have an orchestrator agent, and this agent really works with the user and the backend, the agentic backend, to formulate an answer to the question. I ask a question, it goes to the orchestrator, and the orchestrator figures out a plan to answer that question, leveraging the backend. And then we have an agentic backend, which is simply a collection of AI agents that work together to interpret a request and come up with a plan to answer it. So like I said, we'll start out with specialized agents for Kix and application insights, which will have access to application metadata. And then we'll be growing that and adding new agents in the future. And Nicola will give you the first look at this capability in his demo today. And then finally, just one last slide before we get into the demo, going back to the capabilities on the wheel. So as I mentioned before, watsonx Code Assistant for Z is designed to accelerate your modernization goals, which may vary across applications and may change over time. Our major use cases today are 1, modernizing COBOL, which leverages understanding, code explanation, refactoring, and optimization. Then there's transforming COBOL to Java, which leverages understanding, explanation, refactoring, transformation, and validation. And then we have understanding and explaining JCL and PL1. As we look into 2025, we'll be delivering further enhancements to these use cases and adding new ones, like explanation of assembler and Rex, refactoring of PL1, and transformation of JCL and Rex to Python. So now let's get into the fun part. I'm going to pass it over to Nicola, who will take us through a demo of the COBOL modernization use case, including our upcoming chat and AI agent capabilities. So with that, I will stop sharing unless there are any questions, Nicola.
No.
No questions.
All right. Okay, can you see my screen?
We can see your screen.
Okay, all right. Okay, so let's get started with the demo. Here's the scenario for the demo, because we would like to tell a story through this demo. I'm dealing with a batch application. It's a banking batch application called ATM, which main program is the first one here. And this batch application contains a business process that is going to be the topic of my demo. There's a business process here that basically manages credit and debit information for a given account. It creates a file by reading the credit debit information that is stored, and it's doing that for a given account. And this business process, my architect told me, well, you know, it has been implemented on top of existing programs. It's not implemented in the right place. The logic is spread across multiple programs. And my task as a COBOL developer is going to be to refactor, extract this credit debit account business process into a single program in order to facilitate its further changes. So that's basically what I know after discussing with my architect. And now what I'm going to do is discuss with the AI, start with the program that I know about. Here it is. And I'm going to start by asking the AI to give me an explanation of this program. I should add that there's a little bit more that I know about my task, because this credit debit information, I know that it is stored in a relational table, and so is the account information for the customer. So I have this knowledge, and now let's see how I can explore this. So you see, the chat, the AI, gave me an answer about what this program is about. And I've got some more details. So you see that it's indeed related to an ATM, so not exactly my topic. And what is interesting is this sentence here. This is exactly what I'm looking for. And it's exactly what I've been told, is that this business function is not implemented by itself, but on top of some other capabilities. So, okay, that gives me a good hint. And another thing, I can see the different steps being processed here. Another thing of interest is that it not only tells me about the content of the program, but the surrounding of the program. So I know the other programs that are related to this program that are using it. And more important, I see that this program is accessing this table about credit debit detail. So yeah, I've got a good starting point here. So now, if I think about my task, there's an account being involved. So there must be somewhere something about validating an account. So I'm wondering, does this program also perform the validation of the account, or should I look elsewhere? Okay. So what it tells me actually is not exactly what I was looking for. Is that there is, so I will tell you, AI, I see it as children. And you know what my children, they used to do when they were younger, is that sometimes they would embarrass me. So here we are. I didn't get the answer that I was expecting, but I will show you the previous attempt that I did, which is a relevant one, which is, yes, this program does the validation of an account. However, what is important is that it does it through a subprogram that it is calling, and the name of the subprogram is located in this paragraph. So yes and no at the same time. I will need to explore at least two programs in order to find the logic that I care about. And this is kind of what I was expecting. And the subsequent question that I'm going to ask, that I have asked already in this chat session, is related to GoTo. So nowadays, GoTos are not a good practice and is actually forbidden in our organization. However, these programs have been written a long time ago, and we know that some of them are using GoTo. And you know, GoTo, they disrupt the execution tree that you would expect with a modern language. So I'm going to ask the chat, should I expect to find a GoTo in this application and in this program? And of course, you can bet the answer is yes, because I want to make a point about GoTo in my demo. So I've got enough context here. And what I'm going to do now is to jump to the understand capability that Kelly has described in the wheel, which is in this tool. And what I'm going to do is ask to display a graph about the relationships of this program with the others, including its resources. So let me display the legend here to give you the meaning of the various icons that we see here. And what do we see? Let's zoom a little bit more. Okay. So I've got this program that I was starting with, and I see that this program calls a bunch of other programs. Okay. That's not what I'm going to care about for now. But It interacts with the credit debit detail table. It actually reads the direction of euro matters in this graph, and it reads and writes a bunch of files. Okay, so it kind of matches the explanation that I got. So cool. And let's move on to see the other programs. So yes, there is this other programs that is involved with the account info table. And when I asked, do you validate account? It told me, yes, it happens in this program. Yes, it seems to happen in this program. And it kind of makes sense because validating an account is a capability by itself. Delegating that to a subprogram makes sense. And you can see that I'm dealing with something relatively complex. So that makes also proves the point that this entry point program is doing much more. And what I care about, the logic, is located in this program and in this other program. All right, there's much more to this, but I want you to get the point about understanding capabilities, being able to visualize, go deeper, investigate in order to get confidence about the task that I need to do in this instance. All right, so now I'm going to move to the next step, which is the refactoring. So I need to log in. Okay, I'm logged in already. Good. And the first thing that I'm going to do actually is to import additional data. So let me explain. I've run a process on ZOS before in order to collect execution information about this batch application, but not the whole batch application, but the business process that I care about. So I have prepared my batch application to receive the data that is going to exercise the business process about credit debit collection for a given account. And I run these JCLs in the scope of our tools that are going to do two things. First, to collect an execution flow of what actually ran when I was running this scenario. And also, it did collect performance information about the processes that I was running. So I have done that ahead of time on ZOS, on my application, on my batch application, and I have retrieved the files. And the first thing that I'm going to do is to apply this recording. I'm going to give it a name, which is credit debit, because it's a scenario that I run, and import it into my system. Having done that, I'm going to explore, similar to what I did before in Understand, and actually it's going to give me a graph. I need to zoom out a little bit to make it readable. That is very similar to the graph that we saw previously. But you see, my execution trace, it has highlighted the programs that actually have been executed. You see, this program here, it triggers plenty of other programs, but the one that I care about, that I exercised when I run my scenario, my business process, are these three programs. So again, a good confirmation from an execution standpoint that the information that I have gathered so far with the AI, with the understand capabilities, it confirms the findings. These 3 programs are involved. Actually, this third program is kind of new, but it makes sense. I mean, it seems to be doing SQL error handling, so it makes sense also to delegate that part to another subprogram. So what I'm going to do now, okay, let's get started and I will explain, is do an extraction of the code that I care about in these programs. So I'm starting with the first one. I said, please identify the paragraphs. I've got other options, but for the sake of this demo, I'm going to keep it simple. And it points me to the program. I've got my list of paragraphs. And of course, there's one well named that seems to be a very good entry point for the process that I'm running. You see, it opens the files, it reads the files, the data, it's closing things at the end. Oops, it has a goto. But it seems that if I go in deep with what is being performed from this paragraph, I may find what I need. Now, I'm not going to do that by myself, but the tool is going to help me. So I'm going to give a name to my extraction. So let's be very original and call it credit debit. Okay, it asks me in which direction do I want to investigate the flow. Okay, and what it does is that it collects all of the snippets of code that are related directly or indirectly to this paragraph. So you see, I've got a few: reading the file, opening the cursor because there's a table, fetching the cursor, closing the cursor, writing errors, closing the file, and so on. So in one click, I have gathered all of this data that is relevant to my use case and not everything else that is outside of my scope. Okay. However, remember, it's not enough. I had more than one program that was involved when I was running this scenario. I've got this one as well. So I'm going to do the same process, list the paragraphs of this program, identify what I care about, which is validate account, and I'm going to extract validate account, but this time to my initial extraction, my initial service, credit debit. Okay, and what it does is it adds one snippet, there's nothing more there, about validate account. Okay, so at this stage, what I've got is a collection of pieces of code that we call snippets. It's not a complete program because it's missing all of the data definition, you know, the definition of the files, the definition of the working storage items that I need that are used by this code. So what I need to do is to generate a complete program from these snippets. So I'm going to do that now. Need to give it a name. Let's keep the default, array export. And the tool is going to do the work for me. It knows where the snippets are coming from. It knows the variables that it needs. It has done deep analysis on this. So it is capable of assembling all of that in order to create, well, this program. So you see, I've got the files that I need and not all of the files that I had originally. I've got a bunch of working storage data. I've got my cursor declared, and so on and so on. Okay. There's one thing that I need to do that was not done automatically is, actually I need to find it. it kept using, remember the second program, instead of using the snippet that I've extracted. It's possible to do that, but I did not set it up this time. So I'm going to make that change. And if I continue to explore, I see that it also generates a paragraph to exit, but I've got Regex that does that already. Exit program here, so I don't need it. All right, let's save this. And at this stage, you see, if I remove the search, I've got a fully functional program, no errors, no syntax error, that is ready to be used. However, remember, I'm paranoid. My colleagues told me, Nicolas, be careful of GoTo. And you can't do that. So do I have a GoTo? Yes, I have a GoTo. I had seen the GoTo. So I want to get rid of the GoTo. And I've done that for the purpose of showing you that in our refactoring capabilities, actually, let me trigger it. We've got a tool which purpose is to remove the GoTo. Let's launch it and let's talk about it. So GoTo, as we said, it's complicated by nature because you lose the tree structure of execution that you've got in modern languages, and you jump to a label, and then you've got another GoTo that jumps to another label and so on. So it's very hard to get a mental picture of the execution flow of your program, generally speaking. However, GoTos, there are patterns of usage of GoTos. For example, for people who had done code generation, like a long time ago, like in the 80s, sometimes it was difficult to generate two levels of if, nested if. And for the second level of if, you would use a GoTo. Or, for example, you had to write some loops with a GoTo, and COBOL has since given you more ways to express loops and do that without GoTos. It's another pattern. A third pattern is to exit, so to go to a place where the program is going to exit and do that from many places. So we are able, with deep analysis, to look at the details of the flow of the program, understand the pattern of GoTo, and replace it with a different implementation that match 100% the initial implementation. And in order to do that, we do a lot of processing of the file at different levels in order, after that, to generate the version of the file without a GoTo. So now, here we are. You see, it was not super difficult. What I asked it to do, it understood that this GoTo was just doing exit, was used only once, and so what it has done is replace the GoTo that was performed with what it performs actually. But as I'm telling you, this is a very simplistic example, and our refactoring capability in terms of GoTo removal is capable of doing much more. All right, so at this stage, I think I've done what I needed to do for my task. So as a reminder, what did I do? I started with the chat. I asked for an explanation of my program. Then I asked subsequent questions. Does it validate a count? Is there a GoTo? And you see, you could expand to many more questions. Then I went to understand in order to have a graph that shows me how more in details things are done. It did validate my assumptions, my findings. Then I used an execution, data that came from the execution of my scenario that I imported in the refactoring tool. It showed me the general flow of the application and the specific flow of the execution that I did. I performed my extraction. I assembled all of that into a complete program, and I removed the goto. I have one last thing that I would like to show you is, remember, when I ran the execution, I collected two pieces of data, one about the flow of execution and another about the performance. So I want to finish and show you the report. So it generates this report that I can open, visualize here, that tells me, you know what, when I run your scenario, it took this time. Here are some characteristics, okay? What I care about is my complete list of programs. I can select one, so it gives me some high-level information about it. And I can look at the details and the problems. So what it tells me is I could have compiled this program with better compilation option. You know, there are a lot of compilation options, and some they're really critical to make it better. The ARC setting, for example, tells you optimize this for a given version of the hardware. Well, let's take advantage of this. I don't need to run on older hardware. I can do that. So it gives me advices about compilation, but it also gives me advices about coding. And if you discuss with customers, and you may have that in your organization, you know that it's not to criticize the way that developers do nowadays, but they do it fast because it works. It's good enough, but you can do better. Usage display in a counter, it's not a good idea. So it's going to give you several advices like that for you to adjust your build process, your compilation options, and also the coding in your program. And I believe that ends my demo, Kelly.
Awesome. Thank you, Nicola. Thank you for taking us through this. So there was a question in the chat, and it's a good lead-in. What business value have clients realized? Oops, we're all the way at the wrong side here. Sorry about that, guys. What value have clients realized from watsonx Code Assistant for Z? So we talked about productivity, we talked about agility, efficiency, lower risk, all of the different value drivers that we bring to the table with watsonx Code Assistant for Z. But what are people really seeing when they use this tool? So here are just a few examples of the savings that our clients are realizing with watsonx Code Assistant for Z. So you'll see on the top, 2 to 5x productivity gain in code isolation, leveraging understanding and refactoring. We'll see from a financial company, 66 reduced effort for understanding and refactoring. Westfield Insurance is a public reference for us, and they have 2 to 2.5 times developer productivity gain, 80% less time for application understanding. So huge gains there. And then just one more example of the many examples that we have is 14 to 47% reduced effort for understanding and refactoring for a global logistics company. It's kind of interesting because, there's always that range of people using the tool. And a lot of times when we talk about watsonx Code Assistant for Z, we'll mention the early tenure developer and upskilling quickly. But even experienced developers can realize a lot of savings from using Code Assistant and watsonx Code Assistant for Z. So that's part of the reasoning behind that large range there of 14 to 47% is based on the experience level of the developer. and then 58% reduced effort during code transformation. So a lot of different savings across our clients with watsonx Code Assistant for Z. And then finally, I just wanted to touch base. There has been so much growth in the application modernization space with different tools coming out in the last year or two, then some tools that have been around for a long time. So why is watsonx Code Assistant for Z different? Well, one of the main points that we've touched on along the way is that watsonx Code Assistant for Z supports that end-to-end application lifecycle, from code understanding to the different modernization actions that you need to take to grow your business. Many times, the Gen AI code assistants are focused on Gen AI only capabilities, code generation for a small piece of code, code transformation for a small piece of code. They don't necessarily scale to enterprise use cases, and they don't necessarily give you the tools to accelerate and find that where do I even start? And then often with, we have the word legacy here, code conversions tools, even if they've been updated recently, they're typically that big bang approach. You know, an incremental modernization approach is so important to reduce risk and accelerate time to value. You can realize savings in months or even a month instead of years by, taking an incremental approach. So we're excited. Let me stop sharing here for a second. Let me see what questions there are in the chat here. There we go. So we're excited. We've had a wonderful first year so far with watsonx Code Assistant for Z. We have come a long way. We're getting excellent feedback from our clients on it. And, please let us know what questions you have or any feedback that you have. And I don't see any additional questions. Nicola, do you see anything else, or is there any closing comments?
I would say, regarding the demo, I try to show you multiple capabilities in each of the area, but each time we were just scratching the tip of the iceberg, to give a story and show you the most important elements in each area. You can do real applications in real life are very complex, and so they require tools that are able to understand, capture that complexity, and give you the information that you need when you need it in order to do your job. So you should consider the demos that you've seen as an introduction to this topic and these different capabilities.
Awesome. Absolutely. Yeah, there's so much here. One final thing I did want to do, so I don't get in trouble from our go-to-market people. You can look more into watsonx Code Assistant for Z yourself. So scan the QR code. It will take you to our website. You'll find click-through demos. You'll find client stories. And most importantly, you'll find ways to contact us as well if you have any additional questions. So with that, I want to thank you all for joining us today. I hope you have a wonderful time at Tech Exchange, and we're looking forward to hearing from you. Thanks so much, everybody. And thank you, Nicola. Appreciate
Thank you.
it. Yep.
Bye.